the chair in just a few minutes when she arrives. So we'll go ahead and start with the pledge by Commissioner Hill. He'll lead that. Thank you very much, and we'd like to welcome you this evening to the Thursday, August 27th Planning Commission meeting for the Saratoga Springs City. And we'll go ahead and go to, for a roll call, all are here except for our chair, Rachel Burns. And, oh, I'm sorry, and then Commissioner Rather is also missing and late. So we'll go ahead and we'll go and do the first consent item. Oh, yes, thank you so much. We'd like to turn a moment over for public input, and this is a time set aside for the public to express ideas, concerns, comments for subject matter not listed on the public hearing on the agenda. And please avoid repetition. Limit of 3 minutes per speaker. Unused time may not be given to another. Time for public input is limited to no more than 15 minutes. So do we have any public input? All right, thank you. Seeing that we have none, we'll just go ahead and move forward to consent item number 1, Summerhill Phase 2 Amendment Plat, amended plat amendment located at 133 West Honeysuckle Drive.
And you can actually vote on both of them together. So you vote on consent item 1 and 2 together.
And also approval of the minutes, August 13th, 2026. Sounds good.
I move that the Planning Commission approve the consent items on the agenda.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, Commissioner Hill second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, all were in favor except the commissioner who just got here. Chair. So let's jump to business items. So the commission will discuss without public comment and may either make a recommendation to City Council or approve the following items as needed. And so we're going to first deal with annexation policy plan and expansion area map update, and planner Sam Stout. Now, should we go ahead and open it up for comments first? Okay, I thought that we were going to give a few minutes for people who would like to share input on that.
And then open it for public entity comment.
Okay, go ahead, Sam, please.
Okay, thank you. So for this, the reasoning for this is we are wanting to amend and update the annexation policy plan to include this small parcel that is in it's near the North Lake Meadows subdivision. So we're just adding this parcel into the city. And we're also doing the rezone for the parcel just to the south of it tonight. And we'll be doing the annexation a little bit in the future. But in order for us to do an annexation, we need to first include this on our policy map. So this is what this request is doing, is it's going to add it to our the annexation areas of the city, and this is the only parcel that is being added at this time.
So sorry. Okay, thank you. Is there a developer or anyone here that wanted to join you for this, or can we skip that part and just open for public comment?
If you want, so this one's city initiated, but
Perfect.
the developer is here for the rezone.
Okay, let's just go ahead and open for public comment then. Seeing none, we'll close public comment and open for commissioner comment.
Chair.
Commissioner Hill.
Again, as Sam had indicated, it's city initiated. I think it's just cleaning up that area, and it complies with all of the code and zoning as given in the staff report. So I felt very comfortable with it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any other commissioner comment? How big is this piece of land? I didn't see that in the packet.
Yes, it will be part of the annexation, but I believe it is 0.2 acres,
Okay,
roughly about 0.2 acres.
perfect. Okay. Seeing no other commissioner comment, I will entertain a motion.
So, Chair, I move that the Planning Commission forward a recommendation for approval of the requested annexation policy plan area map amendment for the city of Saratoga Springs with the findings and conditions in the staff report.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilden. Do we have a second on that motion?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Roman. And any questions on the motion? Hearing none, we'll now vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes. Okay. Sorry. And then we are. Okay. All right. So we will go to business item number 2, Redwood Medical Preliminary Plat and Site Plan located at 1843 North Redwood Road. Colton Burton as applicant and planner 2, Sam Stout.
Great. And we'd like to invite Colton, anyone else that would like to come up and either sit here or stand to talk if the council has, or the commission has any questions for them. But so this is, so for the preliminary plat and site plan for Redwood Medical, which is located at the same site as ABC Great Beginnings, so to the north of the city. And it is currently zoned as mixed use, and it is.
Sorry, Sam, we can't hear you.
One sec. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
You just have to keep your mouth close to the mic, sorry.
Okay, right here. Can you hear me?
I think so.
Okay. Let me know if you're having trouble. Okay, so this one, even though it's in a mixed-use zone, it's just this is just proposed commercial property, and oh, okay, I can yell too. I got a good voice. Anyway, so this is 2 lots are, or I'll show you. So basically for this lot design, so there's the existing building to the south, which is ABC Great Beginnings. And then there are going to be 2 proposed buildings, Lot 1 and Lot 2. And Lot 2 is the bigger one where it has 2 floors. It has both some commercial and medical office space. And then the building for Lot 1 is going to be it's going to be for 2 proposed like restaurant takeout restaurants, with one of them having a drive-through. So that is what is proposed. And here are the elevations. Just kind of showed. I do have, if you would like more, I believe I said it in the packet, but these are basically just kind of show the two side elevations. So this one is for the, let me see this. Yeah, all right, so let's see, I accidentally made a mistake here. So this is actually the same building. This is for Lot 2. I was supposed to put this as Lot 1, but this is Lot 2, which is the big one for the commercial and medical office space. And so this is what it will look like. And this is the southeast elevation, east elevation kind of facing Redwood. And then here is the north and west elevation will face the parking lot. And I apologize for not having the other building, but it is provided in the packet for the elevations for Lot 1. And included meets the landscape plan. It complies with everything. The one thing to notice is that I accidentally put in 2 places in the report, one saying that the neighborhood meeting is required before Planning Commission, and then another that it's required prior to City Council. is required prior to city council. I believe that the applicant is planning on doing the neighborhood meeting actually this Saturday, is what their plan is. So I apologize for the confusion, but the neighborhood meeting will be done before this is taken to council. And that's all that I have on this.
Okay. Would the developer like to add anything to the presentation tonight? No? Okay. We'll go ahead and open for commissioner comment then. Commissioner Hill.
Thank you, Sam. You answered one of my questions, and that was the neighborhood meeting. There was a to comply in the parking plan, and I would like you to address that. It looked like the number of ADA spots had a question that needed to be addressed, and so I'd like you to address that one. And then after that, let's talk a little bit about the development agreement with ABC, Great Beginnings, and I'm guessing that's where they can share parking lot and thoroughfare there. So those are the two things that I found on the sheet that showed that needed to have some work, and I'm sure you guys are on top of it, but at the same token, I would like to have it as a part of the record.
Yes. So for the reasoning for the shall comply for the ADA is because there are specific standards for depending on what kind of medical use it will be. It may require more ADA spaces. So that's more so just because I assume they don't know exactly what's going to go in yet, but it's basically when the time comes when for the use, for the specific medical use, they will have the required amount of ADA parking for that. And for parking as a whole, they do have the right amount, or they have the required amount, and in the site plan, it's so in the site plan there is a table that shows all of breaks down all of the square footage, all of the floors, all of the uses, and it does exactly meet the right amount of parking for that. So it's not really shown. It should be shown in the what I sent, but I can also get that specific screenshot for the specific where it goes and talks about parking per square feet and per use, but they do comply with that.
And then can we talk a little bit about the development agreement? That was a part of the packet, and I could see that. And maybe for some of our newer commissioners, talking a little bit why we need that and the usage of that agreement and what it does for what we're doing here.
Can you lean forward into your mic more?
Just to get a little more information on the development agreement and an explanation so our newer commissioners might know what that's all about. Thank you.
Yeah, so with development agreements, they can go over specifics as it can include the potential for parking, for shared agreements and parking. It can include talking about utilities and all sorts of other things that that the city specifically wants to have in the development agreement. In this case, for this development agreement, I am not sure if I've looked in the there is a development agreement for it. I'm not sure if it's been recorded. I've looked in the city or the county's records, and there is a development agreement, but it hasn't been recorded. But as for this, it's a very generic. It's more of a generic development agreement, and everything in Title 19 complies with code and complies with what is in the development agreement. So in this case, there's nothing that it doesn't meet.
So again, from your perspective, we had that development agreement to look at, and it's encompassing enough to take care of Title 19 requirements?
Yes, so this is more so too. This is when just the ABC Great Beginnings, the one building was built. So this is just more so to prepare for future development. And yes, there's nothing that is contradictory to what is in the development agreement regarding to what they are intending to do.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Other commissioner comment? So ABC Great Beginnings already has some parking that's installed there, but we're expanding on that parking. Do you know the difference between the number of parking spots that are already on site and then how many are being added?
Yes, let me look that in my notes, but the applicant may know that as well if they do.
Yeah, we have a copy of
Can you
the,
just make sure the green button is pushed? And then also if you could just state your name and city for the record, please.
is that working at all?
I
Is that working?
I don't know. You have to just keep talking. And then we see this is a newer system. Sorry, everyone.
I'm Sam with CIR Engineering. We're doing the civil for this project. I have the summary table for the parking here if you'd like to take a look. So for the restaurant building, we're providing 16 parking stalls, and then the medical site, we're providing an additional 48.
And those are additional spots that are being added. They're not spots that are already on site.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
So basically to the north of, so from the lot two, so the bigger building, everything to the north of it, those are spots that are being added, parking that's being added.
Okay. And this property is not part of the gateway, entryway, overlay. Sorry.
That is correct. It is not part
It
of
is
the
not.
gateway overlay.
Okay. I just have some questions about this parking that's close to Redwood Road. And so this is a uniquely shaped property, and I love that we're using it to the best of what's there. I thought there was some rules around the way that the parking and buildings are when the parking is like next to Redwood Road.
So I know that there is going to be there's going to be some there will be grading. Yeah, there will be a berm in there. So basically, so it will be higher than, it'll be at least 3 feet higher than Redwood, and so it does meet the requirements with the berm. And so, and then with the landscaping and having all of having trees and shrubbery, it'll help also be kind of a natural barrier as well.
Okay.
Are you, Chair, are you referring to that kind of northeast corner?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think.
Top right?
Yeah.
And also, as long as there's like no direct, if like there's no parking where the cars are directly facing the road, so there are none of those that are like directly facing Redwood.
Oh, okay. That's what the difference is.
That's
Okay.
one, yes.
Okay. Okay. Any other commissioner comment? All right. I will entertain a motion.
I move that the Planning Commission forward a recommendation for approval of the requested preliminary plat and site plan located at 1843 North Redwood Road with the findings and conditions in the staff report.
All right. We've got a motion from Commissioner Rather. Do we have a second on that motion? We have a second from Commissioner Harris. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, we'll now vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes. And we will move to business item number 3, SCI Wasatch Lawn Funeral Home Preliminary Plot and Site Plan located at 877 West Peony Drive. Braden Alsop as applicant and senior planner David Jellin.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commission. As stated, we can go ahead and invite our applicant up here. This is a preliminary plat application and a site plan application for a funeral home located within the Wildflower Plan Community. Under the Wildflower Plan Community, this is Village Plan 2. All non-residential development is given a Type 5 zoning designation. What that means for this property is under that same village plan, this was assigned an equivalent zoning designation of community commercial and was reviewed under the community commercial standards within our zoning land development code. So this will be located just southeast or southwest of the intersection of Mountain View Corridor and Peony Drive as shown there. This preliminary plat and site plan application as proposed do comply fully with code. There are a couple of items that were listed as shall comply within the staff report packet that I'll note here related specifically to our sign regulations as well as our retaining wall regulations. Those two items are reviewed under separate permit, and so generally here we have a shall comply statement that they will comply with city code and will be reviewed further under those separate permits. In particular, within Wildflower, there are specific regulations with regard to illumination of signs and how it relates to its proximity to Camp Williams. There was a shall comply related directly to that. In the past on these items, we've had the applicant work together with Camp Williams to ensure compliance with that illumination code or otherwise dim their illumination completely on those sides that are facing Camp Williams. The applicant is aware of this regulation and is pursuing that letter, I believe is pursuing that letter with Camp Williams. Otherwise, they will comply with the lighting regulations as outlined within the Wildflower Community and Village Plan. Here is the site and the plat exhibit showing this. This is a 2.5 acre parcel that they're developing on. Here's the site plan showing the proposed funeral home and how it will be laid out on the site itself. It's a roughly 8,000 square foot building. Here is the proposed landscaping showing those retaining walls here on the east adjacent to the detention ponds that are along Mountain View Corridor there. Here's their lighting plan showing lighting across the site. Here are the proposed elevations for the building itself. As stated, this is compliant with code. I believe there was one shall comply that was left on the checklist related to the plat itself. The plat that exhibit that was included with your staff report is fully compliant with code. Those shall comply items can be disregarded with regard to the plat itself. So with that, I will stand for any questions you may have. The applicant is here this evening as well if you have any questions for them.
Great. Would the applicant like to add anything to the presentation tonight? If so, please state your name and address or city of residence for the...
My name and what?
Your name and city of residence or business for the record.
So my name is Angela Morrison. Can you hear me? Okay. No.
I think so.
Hello? My name is Angela Morrison. I am the location manager for Wasatch Lawn. I am just here. We're so excited to be a part of this community. That's really...
We'll let Wendy fix it really quick. Sorry. Sorry. This is a new system. We're still working out some of the bugs in it.
Would you mind standing and using
Oh.
that one in the meantime?
Perfect.
I apologize.
No.
Is it? And try the green button.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Perfect. So my name's
Thank you.
Angela Morrison. I am the location manager for Wasatch Lawn Mortuary. I'm also a funeral director. I am just here from our company, SCI, just to just tell you guys how excited we are to be part of your community. I live out here myself, and it is a long time coming and needed a funeral home, someplace that we can honor our loved ones and really celebrate lives. And so that's just everything I wanted to add.
All right. Well, thank you. We'll go ahead and if you want to just stay there, then, or if Wendy's got that, in case we've got any commissioner questions, we'll go ahead and open for commissioner comment. I almost just said Commissioner Hill, just off like out of habit. So.
Kendall, thank you, because you answered all my questions with the exception of one, and that is the red line on the plat. Can you share what that is for commissioners?
Yeah, previously we had a red line that we were carrying forward. They had to make an update to the plat exhibit. I believe it was with regard to setbacks that were being shown on the plat that were not reflective of the actual setback exhibit that is on the plat. We had them take those off of the exhibit, and that was what the requirement was. They complied with that, and the updated plat exhibit in your staff report shows that. It just wasn't corrected on the checklist, so I apologize for that.
Thank you for that clarification. And then just from a personal note, personally, I'm excited to have you in the community. We're growing, and there's certain areas that we haven't grown to give services to our citizens. And so thank you. Your reputation is well known, and so we look forward to moving forward.
Thank you. It's an honor.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any other commissioner comment? I've got a question on parking. How many spots are we getting
There's
on
a
this?
total of 77 stalls here.
Okay. That's way more than it looked like, and I did not count it at home on my tiny screen. So 77 is a great number. As a resident of this community, do you feel that number is adequate? My concern is that there's not really like overflow parking area here, and we couldn't put people onto Mountain View, right?
Yeah.
And does it connect to the neighborhood then? It doesn't connect to the neighborhood.
No,
Yeah.
it does
So,
not.
I mean, this is a very young neighborhood, or very young city. You know that. The last funeral I went to not too long ago was a very young man, and I think there was more than 77 cars that were there. Maybe not. Do you feel this is going to be adequate?
I do feel it's going to be adequate. There may, I'm not going to lie, there may be services that are huge, and you just can't predict that. But working other funeral homes and managing other funeral homes, absolutely. Most of your families that come, they come in multiples and carfuls. So yeah, I think 77 is more than adequate.
Okay.
So.
And then if it's not, is there a good plan in place to handle that?
So that I don't know right now. So I have to be honest. I don't know what the planning is for that.
Okay. Just something to maybe make sure there is some good plan in place so that we just don't end up in a situation. That's all the comment for me. Commissioner Rather.
I was just going to respond to your comment, which is, according to that table, actually, only 33 stalls are required per our city ordinance, just FYI, which doesn't sound like a lot for an 8,000 square foot building
No.
of this nature. So
Yeah.
providing 77, I mean, it's more than double. So, which seems like they're trying to plan for that, but
Yeah, and I apologize if it comes across as that is not. I do, like 77 is a lot, and I do appreciate that number because this is a young city.
my point is just 33, if that actually is the city ordinance, is fairly low probably.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, I mean, you would overflow almost for sure at that.
So, I mean, with the parking concern here, though, where there's no spot for
Yeah.
overflow, where I think that this is one of the very few spots that we would not have any space for any overflow into somewhere else. But that is a good comment that we should definitely make sure to take to city staff on.
These two accesses do go on to Peony, which is a local street. So they are next to Mountain View, but Peony is a local street. So there is frontage, not just on Mountain View. So Mountain View's to the side.
Okay.
I've also driven past, I don't know if this is working. I've also driven past. I was just gonna. It sounded a lot better. Oh, all making progress. I drive past this site quite a bit. Have close friends that live in the Edge homes directly west of this, and I know that I've seen the street parking there. I imagine that's where it would overflow, would be starting and then heading up west up Peony.
Okay.
Figured I'd just share that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Commissioner Harris.
Just to continue on that, is along the bottom of our screen, I think that's the west side. Could you not add like a whole nother row of stalls there? Or is there just not enough space in the lot to do that?
They previously had parking shown in that area. In order to accommodate some of our code requirements, they removed it out of that area. And so that was something that previously had been considered with the site, but due to code restraints, they had removed parking in that area.
Yeah, we actually, another reason was the slopes across this site. It slopes pretty significantly. So that was a conversation that we had a while ago, was the idea of it would help us significantly with slopes to actually remove the stalls to the north, or I guess I should say to the east. But that was something that we wanted to try to maximize parking. So that's the reason for those additional walls right there on the east.
Thank you, Commissioner Harris and Commissioner Rather, for your comments tonight. And if there's no other comments, we'll go ahead and entertain a motion.
I move that the Planning Commission forward a recommendation for approval of the requested preliminary plat and site plan for SCI Wasatch Lawn Funeral Home located at 877 West Peony Drive with the findings and conditions in the staff report.
Thank you, Commissioner Harris. Do we have a second on that motion?
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Hill. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, we'll now vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and that passes unanimously as well.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commission.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we will move to public hearings. The commission will accept public comment and may make a recommendation to the City Council for the following items. Item number 1, Andover rezone from agricultural to R19, residential single-family 9,000, located at approximately northeast of Clark Drive and Pony Express Parkway. Scott Carlson as applicant, and Planner 2 Sam Stout will be presenting.
It's good to be back with you.
Thank you.
Okay, so for this reason, so this is for the rezone for the said property. So the annexation policy plan, it is the parcel just to the south of it. So it is one piece of land that is currently agricultural, and the plan is to be rezoned. The request to be rezoned from agricultural to R19, which is what the adjacent properties are. And the general plan has it as low density residential. So it does comply. And then what will happen is that once annexation policy plan is taken to council, and we are also going to work through the correct process. Nikki from recording is making sure that we're doing it the right way, so she's been awesome with this. But we will eventually, that small piece will be annexed in and be part of the piece that currently is being rezoned. And once it's annexed, it will automatically be put into the R19 zone when that comes. But right now, it's just the parcel to the south, which is the agricultural, and proposed to go to R19. And just to kind of show the differences in the land use and what the minimum sizes and then the requirements are going from and to. And yep, and we also have Scott Carlson here, and he can take any questions at this time as well as myself.
All right. Do we usually do developer stuff and then open for public comment? Okay, so we'll go ahead and open for public comment then on this item. Seeing none, we'll close public comment and hear from the developer.
Thank you. I'm Scott Carlson. Are we okay to hear now? Am I close enough?
I think so.
I'm the applicant on this, and we're just, I guess I'd say this is the piece piece in the middle in between the two projects that we've already done. We've already planned for this project to come through and connect. So the roads on the west and on the east will be their connections, and that'll tie the whole neighborhood together. And so R19 is the requested zone because that's the same as we've done on the west and on the east. So we think this will be a great fit to finish off and connect the neighborhood through.
Okay, thank you. And we'll go ahead and open for commissioner comment. All right,
I have one comment.
Commissioner Rather.
Just to be clear, the part that's showing as in blue as unincorporated parcel, you probably mentioned it, but will that be, that's not part of the rezone, is that correct?
That's correct. It has to be, the annexation has to finish before it can be zoned.
Right.
And so with the annexation, the little blue strip will come into the city as R19 so that it will all match together. So it's the green portion that's being rezoned today.
The blue strips, is that part of your development per
Yes.
se? Oh,
Yes.
okay.
It was left over from the adjacent development, and so we picked it up because it's adjacent to us.
And this will be kind of more explained when the annexation is going to be taken to commission and council. But the developer, they've worked with the city, they've been in talks with the city of Lehigh, and they are in agreement to this parcel. Like the parcel to the north of that will be part of Lehigh's annexation plan, but this piece, it has been agreed upon to be able to come into Saratoga.
Commissioner Harris.
So do you anticipate having a road go from, looks like Livy Lane over to Clark Drive as part of your plan for this?
Yes, a little zigzag road will
Okay.
connect both of those, and
Okay.
then everything will be connected together.
And then about a dozen homes, give or take,
Yep.
somewhere in there, okay.
Okay. Hearing no other questions, we'll go ahead and entertain a motion.
I move that the planning commission forward a recommendation for approval of the requested rezone from R1 to 9 for Hanover property located approximately northeast of Park Drive and Pony Express Parkway with the findings and conditions in the staff report.
Okay, we've got a motion from Commissioner Hill. Do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second that.
We have a second from Commissioner Wilden. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, we'll now vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes unanimously as well. On a
Thank
roll
you.
tonight. All right, we will
Okay.
move to
Thank you.
public hearing item number 2, amendments to Title 19 Land Development Code of the City of Saratoga Springs, Chapter 19.20, internal accessory dwelling units, IADUs, code amendment for detached accessory dwelling units, DADUs, citywide, city-initiated, senior planner David Jellin and Kendall Black. Double up.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, this is a bit of a long one. So I'll try and walk you through this the best I can. I've got a couple of overview slides. There's a lot we're trying to do here with this. To provide some context to this code amendment, this is a code amendment that the city is pursuing based on recent state legislation. At their meeting in March this year, they mandated that cities have regulations in place allowing for DADUs, detached accessory dwelling units, under certain conditions and regulations by October 1st. We took this to the City Council for a work session last week, August 18th, and got some input on the code amendment that is in your packet. This is kind of what came about because of that conversation through the process. So the first thing to note here is that there is a rename of the chapter that staff is proposing. As mentioned, Chapter 1920 is currently called Internal Accessory Dwelling Units. In order to make it more navigable and easier to follow, staff is proposing an overhaul to that name to address it as simply accessory dwelling units. and then further distinguishing between what are general provisions allowed for accessory dwelling units, and then further getting into what is allowed for internal accessory dwelling units and what is allowed or permitted for detached accessory dwelling units. So we break down sections into the multiple ADU types. We've added definitions for detached ADUs as well as ADUs as a general standard. We've taken those definitions from state law itself and have referred code back to state law for those definitions. As stated here, there's been some edits, but mostly it's new provisions related specifically to detached ADUs. A lot of the changes that are being made in code, there were a lot of red lines in there, were due to the fact that we're separating these out. Internal accessory dwelling units are something we really haven't touched. Those standards are remaining the same. It was just parsing between, okay, what are the standards that apply to both internal and detached accessory dwelling units, and then what applies specifically to detached accessory dwelling units. So some of those provisions that were added in state code and that are part of this code amendment, I can go through here for you. The state has imposed a minimum lot size to allow for detached accessory dwelling units. That is at 11,000 square feet. There is a process in there for converting existing detached accessory structures to accessory dwelling units, provided that they comply with this code that is being proposed. There are an additional parking stall requirement being proposed with this, 2 additional stalls required for detached ADUs that are larger than 650 square feet, and 1 parking stall for those less than 650 square feet. And I should correct myself there, 2 for 660 square feet or larger. And that is in addition to the base requirement for the primary dwelling itself. There's restrictions on the DADU size such that it cannot exceed the size of the existing single-family dwelling unit. They are prohibited from being located within any front yard of any lot or parcel and within any public utility easement. Their maximum height cannot exceed that of the height of the primary dwelling itself. Their design state code is pretty restrictive on design requirements, but does permit us to require that they are designed consistent with the single-family dwelling, so that has been added in. They're prohibited from being rented for less than 90 days. And then they may have separate meters for utilities, and only if sufficient utility access and capacity is available, and they are required to provide us with that information as well as they come in to permit these. And then impact fees can be collected on these as well and shall be collected on them in order to be able to continue to have the capacity within our utilities to service detached ADUs. So here's the code amendment language itself. Like I said, a lot of this is reformatting. Here are the definitions that were being added, particularly ADU and detached ADU. This language here limits the number of ADUs to 1 on a lot, whether it be internal or detached. This was language that was taken out because it wasn't part of the general provisions to apply to both and was added back in just for internal accessory dwelling units. So anything that you see striked off here is because it went into that special provision section for IADUs. And then here's that separate IADU section. Like I said, this language was already within this code and is now just being put under IADUs specifically. And then here are those special provisions for detached ADUs. So that's an overview of what we're doing with this. If there are any questions about any of these provisions specifically, I'm happy to dive into those. But with that, if there are any other questions you have, I'm happy to answer them.
All right. We will go ahead and open for public comment on this. Seeing none, we'll close public comment and open for commission comment. Commissioner Wilden. Sorry, I almost said hill. Sorry.
No, that would be a compliment.
is.
A question, I assume this has no impact on setbacks and when like a shed, there's certain setback requirements. I'd assume this will follow the same setbacks.
As of right now, the feedback that we received from council in that work session was having these located outside of those PUEs and not within the front yard setback. And so they can be located within the rear, within those general spaces. Now, I will say that for detached accessory structures, generally speaking, that setback is 5 feet, which is consistent with what you would see on a PUE. So yes, there is consistency between the two of those.
So it'd be treated like a shed.
Essentially, yes.
Oh, okay, great, thank you. And so it's 11,000 square feet minimum, and that's to have an accessory unit. So it's not the accessory unit needs 11,000 square feet, it's 11,000 square feet total in the yard itself.
Yes, correct. Yeah, so the lot size, the minimum lot size for the primary dwelling has to be 11,000 square feet to be able to locate a detached ADU on the lot. That lot size is smaller for an IADU, but that was regulated also by state law, so.
So there can be some real awkward situations that the law could allow. I guess we're just kind of stuck with whatever people come up with, is that right?
Yeah, generally speaking, we have these standards here that we can hold them to, and that's what we'll be reviewing these against. But there are definitely going to be situations where there may be some gray area. Some of the feedback that we got back from City Council at our work session was that staff take a look at this harder and really dig into it, and so that we can try and address some of those gray areas better. But because of the state-imposed deadline, we have to have something in place by October 1st. And so this was generally the feedback that we received. And you may be seeing more of these come back in terms of code amendment in the future. So,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilden. Commissioner Hill.
David, thank you. There was a lot of reading here and a lot of work that went into this. Can you share with the commission right now, do we have many detached accessory dwellings within the city?
So currently, the city does not allow for detached accessory dwelling units. So we have not permitted a single one. Until this code goes into effect, there is no process that somebody could legally apply for and get one permitted in the city. And so, no.
Okay. And as Commissioner Walden talked about, it could be problematic. Not a lot of yards are so big that they could, they can do sheds and some of those types of things. So it'll be interesting. But I do appreciate that we put some thought into the state legislative process, because if you aren't ahead of it, then you're behind it, and then you've got major problems. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that in reality what we're trying to do is support, I would guess, the governor's middle market housing, and thus, vacation rentals are being eliminated a little bit by 90 days. I'd love to see it extended more to, at least, 180 days instead of 90, which keeps us away from that. But that can be problematic. And if you get a neighborhood where a lot of, they're starting to do a lot of that, that can really have a negative effect on it if it were vacation rentals. But again, as you'd indicated, it all complies with the state parameters. It gives us ahead of the game. And so I appreciate it. And so thank you for your presentation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Harris.
I have a few questions. So first off, to Commissioner Wilden's question about the setbacks, I'm pretty sure I read in here that it said it had to be at least as much as the DADU was tall. So that is more than 5 feet to me.
That is correct. I'm glad you bring that up. And yes, that is correct. Where a structure is larger than where it is larger than 1 story, there is an additional setback based on the height of the structure itself. So I apologize that I missed that. That is correct. That was something that the city council was worried about, potentially window orientation, seeing into, a neighboring property. And so they felt like the setback should be mirrored based on the height if it was greater than a single story. In
So
height.
single story is just the same setbacks we
Single
have.
story is going to follow the same as any other accessory structure that you
Okay.
would see detached.
And so that would just be whatever that area is zoned for.
So it would be limited to that PUE, and generally speaking, I think across our residential zoning districts, if I remember correctly, at least most of what we see in the city, it's generally about 5 feet for structures that are greater than 200 square feet and 2 feet setbacks for structures that are less than 200 square feet. So
Okay. It also mentioned that the height can exceed the primary dwelling's height. Is it worth adding like language to clarify that that also cannot, must match the zone? I'm not a lawyer, so maybe that's just already covered by existing rules, so I just was curious.
there was conversation back and forth about it. There were some concerns with the way that state law is written and how we can regulate height. And so this is kind of where we landed with it based on that work session. This may be one of those items that we look at and continue to tweak in the future. But given how state law is written, we felt like this was the safest route for us currently to be able to comply with state law in the way that it's written. So.
Okay.
So we do check that every primary structure meets it.
Okay.
Yeah.
My next one is, I did notice on your slide, you caught it, but actually in the proposed language, it does not say greater than or equal to 600 square feet, requires 2. It just says exceeds. So I think that's something that needs fixed.
That is something that needs to be fixed, yes. And that was something that was pointed out, so I'm glad that you have mentioned that because I'm seeing that right here. And yes, that would be something that I think we could handle as with the motion. Okay, yeah. If you could include that in your motion this evening, that would be great.
Another question, kind of similar to Commissioner Hill's. I am curious if it was discussed at all. If I know the state says that we can limit it being up to the same size as the primary dwelling unit. I'm curious if it's worth adding like a max size period across the city. Like these are accessory units. To me, I don't see the need for a second 5,000 square foot structure on another lot or on a lot that has one already, even if it would work. Was that discussed to put like 2,000 square foot maximum throughout the city or anything?
Yeah, that was discussed. It's the way state code is written, it's kind of like a carte blanche where it like lists a couple of different things and says it has to comply with these. And height is one of those that's among those, and the size of the structures is among those as well. And so that was another one as well. After a conversation, it felt like this is probably the easiest language at this point to be able to comply with state law, but something we can continue to look at and
Okay.
tweak if allowed, if permitted by law, and if necessary.
Okay.
So,
I had a couple people reach out to me about the size of what these could be, so I wanted to bring that up.
there are other limiting factors as well, separate from here. Lot coverage in particular is something across zoning districts. We have max lot coverage requirements. Typically about 50% of the lot can be covered. And so those will come into effect as well, particularly where you have the front setback that's protected in these areas. That means you're looking at, wherever the home starts and then after that as taking up the whole 50% of that lot. And so that should do some thing in these cases where that lot coverage may come into effect.
Gotcha. Okay, that was actually one of my following questions, was that coverage. One more, I just, not a question, but I did want to note that I appreciate you guys adding in the language about the review process for effects on utilities, because that's a concern I thought too. As I'm reading these, we could have up to 50% more in a worst-case scenario, like dwelling units than utilities, et cetera, were planned to handle initially. And so I'm glad that you guys put language in that would be reviewed, and so we don't have utilities that are overwhelmed by extra units coming in. So, and then my last question, you mentioned that we have impact fees. Are those recurring, or is that just one time at permitting/build?
I believe that is a one-time, and it is with the building permit. Ruling can correct me if I'm wrong here.
Okay.
One time at the beginning, they estimate the impact on the city through the IFFPs and IFA, and that's charged to the development.
Okay. And I guess follow along with that. I'm assuming one of these would increase your property taxes, so there's like continued fees or income for one of these to the city. Is that correct or no?
Yeah, I am not sure. I
Yes.
don't know how
Yes,
the county assesses
property taxes are based off
taxes.
your valuation, and I imagine this would increase your valuation.
That is it from me.
Thank you, Commissioner Harris. Great questions. Commissioner Rather.
Yeah, I've got a question about how, I mean, I think in our community we have a lot of HOAs, and I'm curious kind of as to what rules supersede which, and I'm assuming because you have development agreements like within an HOA often that they would maybe override, but I wonder how, you know, communities might feel about this going forward, how that, you know, just kind of what your thoughts are on how that might look.
Yeah, as far as HOAs are concerned and like CCNRs, the city doesn't enforce those, and so I think that would look up to the HOA as far as, you know, how they choose to enforce these. But as far as the city is concerned, the state has given us the direction that, you know, these are the parameters under which you can enforce, and so that's what we're generally trying to follow here, so.
I mean, I could see that becoming an issue because I imagine a lot of our neighborhoods do have HOA rules or CCNRs, right? So I can see that coming up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
The question of ownership as well with these and whatnot, it was things we all talked about, and like I said, state has kind of given the city its direction as to where we can take it with these things, and ultimately, yeah, HOAs will be enforcing them as HOAs do, so.
But now citizens in the community have it's allowed in the city at that point by kind of virtue of the state, right? And then we would be adopting it. So now someone living in an HOA potentially has some ground there to be able to do something, right?
We just wouldn't get in the middle of it as
Right,
a city.
right.
Yeah, we just would stay
Yeah,
out of it.
right,
So
I understand
whatever-
that.
Whatever their HOA processes would be completely up to them. I understand what you're saying and where you're coming from. It could cause some confusion for some people, but our regulation would be treated separately than theirs. So if it came to what does the city allow, that doesn't change anything that an HOA allows.
Right.
And it's kind of important to note too that happens all the time with code as it is, right? Like we might have a landscaping code that says you can do X and Y, but your HOA says you can only do Z. And as long as it doesn't conflict with us or conflict with state, then you're going to be fine. And that's a private covenant you entered into as a civil citizen, right? So it's a civil agreement through your HOA. So it's going to be viewed differently, but it does happen under our code as it is. Like there's fencing requirements that we have, the HOAs will view slightly differently. So it's kind of along that same vein of you see of any CCNR that you'd enter into for a community.
Thank you, Commissioner Rather. I have some questions. Okay, so we used to have that map that showed where IAUDs were allowed. Is that still relevant and part of this?
Not part of this. We still have that map, and that is still relevant to IDUs within the city. IDUs were regulated a little bit differently at the state level, and so there were restrictions as far as X amount of the city has to allow for IADUs within the city. And so I think that map establishes, you know, where those areas are, where it's prohibited and where it's permitted. to be registered and have an IADU. There were further regulations like the 6,000 square foot lot size for IADUs and whatnot that are included in this code. But yes, that map is still active and will continue to be active and updated for IADUs.
Okay, so that map applies for IADUs but not DADUs.
Correct.
Got it. This is a hard one. Do we any guess about how many of the homes in our city are over that 11,000 square foot limit?
So we ran an analysis on it, and I believe there were 2,800 lots that were over 11,000 square feet. We didn't dig into it more narrowly, like where is it potentially possible, but just looking at lot size itself, the number was right around 2,800.
2008.
Which is about in between a quarter and a third of our total lots.
A quarter and a third. Okay. And then so what we're talking about here is we're talking about allowing property owners, to add an additional dwelling that they can then rent out as additional income to provide additional housing, right?
Correct.
So we're running a business. So at what point is there a business license that needs to be applied for? Because if you're acting as a landlord, you're running a business.
Might be a good question for legal.
All right, legal.
Let me try to tackle it first, and then of course Rulon can add on. We have not yet established a rental licensing program in the city. Other cities have established that. That would be an additional staffing level for us, an additional programming that we would have to add to our policies and procedures. So we do not currently have that. Under fair housing, I think it's once you have 4. So like 4 rental properties, then you need to be licensed as a business and things like that. I believe that's right. I could be wrong. So we haven't established that yet. That would be a citywide policy that the city council would have to be wanting to implement.
Okay. I mean, 20 years ago, West Valley required it for 2. So I think there's some room there to look. I understand that is a drain on the city. But I think there's also, part of this is that we're protecting the community, right? And so protecting our citizens and making sure that things are fair and regulated, and having a business license and having those requirements in place is part of how we do that, is part of how we make sure that we have good landlords who are also making sure that they're bringing in good tenants, whether they live on that property or are just renting out both units, right? Because I didn't see anything.
They can't rent both.
Is there something, where I didn't see anything that restricted from renting a DADU?
You can rent one,
There's
but
a
I
restriction
thought
on
it said
owner
they.
occupancies.
Yeah.
So one of them does need to be occupied by the owner.
Yeah.
And so when that restriction is broken, what's the city process for handling that?
We would use the typical code enforcement process.
What does that look like? Can you walk me through that a little bit?
Sure. Generally, it's complaint based, right? We wouldn't necessarily know unless we get a complaint, and then we can issue a notice of violation and give them a time frame to correct the violation.
Okay. What about insurance? Is there any requirement for having this additional dwelling insured?
Not in city code or state code. That's a personal decision.
Is that something that's been discussed in these work meetings?
No, not at all, but it generally isn't. It'd be similar to your homeowner's insurance or your renter's insurance. So it'd be up to the individual owner or renter.
I think a lot of times we're approaching some of these things with the idea that people are going to be their best and do the right thing. And the reality is is that that's not what happens. And so as we're continuing to work on some of these regulations citywide, I strongly encourage us to really look at what are we doing to make sure that we're not setting people up to be in a bad situation. And I think there is some room to talk about business licenses and insurance and making sure that that is properly handled so that we don't have renters who are in a bad situation or landlords who are in a bad situation on this. And so I think that that starts with in these work meetings and continues into the code, and then that allows enforcement to be able to have some teeth and take some action when needed. I have an IADU across from me that has been reported multiple times, and code enforcement comes out, and then they have a tenant move out, and then 6 months later, code enforcement's no longer watching, and oh, look, another tenant moves in, and guess what? The owner of that property doesn't live on that property. So this is, as much as I want to say, like, yeah, this is great, and this is good, and improves housing availability, it's not, people don't always follow the rules the way they're supposed to. And so that's where protections come in, and that's where writing city code that allows for enforcement to go out and get involved becomes really important. And so I'm strongly encouraging that we take a really hard look at what kind of things we can do to make sure that we're protecting both the property owner, the landlord, and the renter, or if it's just a family member that happens to be staying with them, that any of the people involved are protected the way they need to be. And I think that having a business license and having a requirement to have that accessory dwelling, especially the DADUs insured, adds some protection levels there. So that's my piece on that, and that's it for me. Any other commissioner comment? All right, I will now entertain a motion.
Chair, I move that the Planning Commission forward a recommendation for approval of the requested code amendment to Chapter 19.20 with the findings and conditions in the staff report.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilder.
Add the added condition for equal to or greater than on the parking requirement?
Yes,
600?
that's exactly what I said.
Oh, is it?
I'm kidding. Can we add what he just said?
With the added condition of
That the two parking stall requirement be equal to or greater than 650 square feet for a
the
DADU.
two parking requirement be
Equal to or greater than
equal to or greater than
650 square feet.
650 feet. Thank you. Got it.
okay. And do we have a second on that motion? Thank you. Oh my gosh, Commissioner Matt. Haven't had to see your name all night. I know. All right. Any questions on this motion? Hearing none, we'll now vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye, or nay, I don't know what I said.
Okay, Commissioner Harris, would you like to explain your vote?
Yeah, I think we have time to revisit these for a couple of these notes. I really appreciate what our chair brought up, and I just think we could do with some more limits, like Commissioner Hill suggested, a longer rental time limit or a longer minimum. I would ideally like to see like a max size across the city too. I just think some of these things could be tightened up because we do have time still, so that's why.
Okay. All right, that does pass, so we will move on to,
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commission.
thank you. Public hearing item number 3, amendment to Title 18 Building and Construction Code, Chapter 18.02 Flood Damage Prevention, citywide, city initiated. And I'm not sure who's presenting on that. Oh, Ken for the engineer. And I will just say that when I saw that engineering would be here tonight, I did get excited. So here we go.
We don't have a slide. We do have the staff report. This code amendment is to bring our code up to date with the recent changes to the FEMA flood maps. And staff has also identified recommended changes to the city's flood drainage prevention code to ensure consistency of process and minimize the risks of flooding to the existing proposed developments in the city, to ensure the city meets the minimum standards of the NFIP. Some changes that we've added are adding a 1 foot of freeboard to the AO and AH flood zones as identified on the flood maps, and we also added new standards for regulations for manufactured homes. So that is the analysis. Is there any questions that you have on the changes?
Well, first we'll just go ahead and open for public comment. And seeing no one, we will close public comment and open for commissioner comment. We trust you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. I will now entertain a motion. We don't have a slide. Someone's going to have to do their best.
Let me try this one. So, Chair,
Can you talk into your mic more? And turn it on.
Chair, I recommend, how does it start? I recommend the Planning Commission forward a positive recommendation for amendment to Title 18 Building Construction Code, Chapter 18.02 Flood Damage Prevention Citywide, City Initiated. Thank you.
All right. Do we have thank you, Commissioner Wilden. Any second on that motion?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, we'll now vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh,
That
sorry.
wasn't Commissioner Hill.
Huh? What? Oh.
Oh,
Just me. You said.
I'm so sorry. You're right.
Again.
Commissioner Roman.
It's his birthday,
Thank you
though.
for seconding that. Okay. All right. Did we vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That one passes. Good job, engineering. All right.
Thank you. I appreciate you making that mistake. I'm not the only one.
I heard you, so.
Move to commissioner reports and commissioner comments tonight. Any commissioner comments?
Yes, I'd like to wish Commissioner Hill a happy birthday.
Oh, we should sing happy birthday.
We don't need to.
All right.
When you get a certain age, you just kind of pass it by.
Oh, I thought it was when you get a certain age, then you get to have 3 ice creams from McDonald's, not just 2 anymore.
Well, there are a lot for every app that's fast food is sending stuff, so.
Oh my God. All right. Commissioner Hill, did you have some commissioner comments tonight?
I do. I just wanted to let everyone know, as a placeholder, that on September the 23rd at 10 o'clock, the Larry Miller Real Estate. What's that? AM, yes, it's not going to be late. It's 10 o'clock to noon, is going to be making a presentation, and it will include the Three Canyon project here in Saratoga Springs. It'll be much more than that because they're going to be talking about their real estate arm, but for commissioners that have not had an opportunity to go through that Three Canyon project, it might be very good to attend that. It will be in Salt Lake. It will be at their offices because they're going to promote themselves a bit. And as soon as I get all of the information on it, I will forward that out to Sarah, and we'll get that squared away. And but you'd have to take time away from work to be able to do that. But it will be a great program. It will highlight some of the things that we have done as commissioners and as council, bringing that whole project together with all of the citizen input, and then the uniqueness of the Utah Land Trust land and how that all came together, how we're going to get an extended road, Mountain View paid for, and so some good things happening from that. So again, I'll get that information to you as soon as we just have zeroed in on that this week.
Thank you for that information, Commissioner Hill. Do you know about how long it'll take?
It's 2 hours. It's slated from 10 to noon, and initially we put in a request to have it be able to be Zoomed, and I'll let you know if that's a possibility too.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, director's report.
Is my mic working?
No.
I'll,
I don't know that any of like that one was working the best. The podium was okay, but that one seemed good. Yeah.
it's just easier if it's on the recording. All right, so the City Council held a meeting on August 18th, and they approved the Bonneville Drive extension. That's the road near the new high school that will help link our city with Eagle Mountain so that all of the students have good access. We do need Eagle Mountain to do their part as well to complete that connection. And then you guys had looked at establishment of land use zones. That was coordinating some of our zone sizes with our table and our text. And then, so that got approved, that code amendment. You had looked at new and unlisted uses and recommended approval for that code amendment. That got approved. And then the Taco Bell major site plan amendment with the purple stripe got approved. And then the work session that Senior Planner David had talked about relating to the detached ADUs was held last meeting. And just so you all know, the September 10th meeting is canceled, so you don't have a meeting in 2 weeks. And that is because of the APA conference. I know that Commissioner Hill is attending. Is anyone else attending? No? Okay, that's fine.
And you have till September 1st if you'd like to attend.
Generally, the second day is heavily focused on citizen planners, which would be all of you. But it is a full day commitment, and it's up in Logan. So, and your next meeting will be September 24th, and it looks like we'll have a handful of items, possibly 4 or 5, maybe more, who knows.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Do we have a need for a closed session tonight?
We do not.
All right. I will adjourn this meeting.